More than 1 million deadly fentanyl pills have been swept off the streets this year, and the DEA says those pills are designed to resemble oxycodone M30 tablets.
The raid that shattered the silence. Before sunrise, FBI and DEA teams flooded a quiet Minneapolis neighborhood, executing a coordinated federal raid.
A multi-agency investigation into the Sinaloa cartel resulted in taking nearly 1.7 million pills off the streets. Those pills, along with fentanyl powder, were hidden in homes and storage facilities across the valley.
Inside one family home, agents seized 1.5 million lethal doses of fentanyl, enough to devastate an entire city. This wasn't a street bust. This wasn't a random raid. This was the takedown of a sophisticated drug network that had been operating in plain sight. And it all began with one routine traffic stop, a broken taillight, a single vehicle, and a discovery that exposed a hidden operation stretching far beyond South Minneapolis. The scale of the threat. Fentanyl doesn't look deadly, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Just a few grains can kill. What agents found in Minneapolis wasn't just powder. It was pills crafted to look like real medicine, identical in shape and markings. One pill could be fatal. This wasn't street-level dealing. It was a sophisticated distribution network, moving massive amounts quickly and quietly, following patterns seen nationwide and linked to cartel supply routes. At this point, investigators knew they weren't dealing with a local problem. The traffic stop that changed everything. It was 9:18 p.m. on a frigid January night. Lake Street, Minneapolis, nearly empty. Frost glimmered under the streetlights, the air sharp and still. What began as a routine traffic stop, a broken taillight on a small sedan, quickly turned extraordinary. The driver, Mohammed Farhan Isi, 32, a polite, unassuming delivery driver and relative of Abdul Rahman Nur Ali, seemed ordinary. The trunk told another story. 2 black bundles, a digital scale, and $47,600 in neatly stacked cash. Field tests revealed the deadliest detail: fentanyl. Enough for over 180,000 lethal doses. One slip could kill instantly. Local officers realized immediately this was beyond small-time crime. Within hours, a multi-agency task force was mobilized. FBI, DEA, Homeland Security, and Customs and Border Protection. Surveillance, mapping, and analysis began quietly, deliberately, without tipping off the suspects. A single taillight had exposed a massive hidden network. One stop, one discovery, and South Minneapolis would never feel ordinary again. From that moment on, the case was no longer routine. Mapping a family-based network. The traffic stop was only the first clue. What it revealed pushed investigators in a new direction. They didn't rush. Instead, they watched. Over 8 weeks of silent observation, followed by months of extended surveillance, a pattern began to form behind ordinary streets and familiar faces. Investigators traced phone records. That showed who stayed in constant contact. They monitored late-night vehicle movements. That revealed repeated routes and delivery behavior. They followed unexplained money transfers. That exposed coordination far beyond a single driver. Piece by piece, those details connected. At the center of it all was Abdul Rahman Nur Ali, 44, a respected neighbor, business owner, and community organizer. What investigators saw next clarified the structure. He wasn't acting alone. This was a coordinated operation built around family roles. His younger brother, Yosef Nur, 38, handled logistics, arranging late-night drop-offs behind grocery stores, warehouses, and alleyways. In simple terms, he made sure the product moved. Cousin Hodan Wars, 34, managed finances, keeping meticulous ledgers in both English and Somali. That meant the money was tracked, balanced, and controlled. Other relatives handled short deliveries across Richfield, Bloomington, and South Minneapolis. Outside, everything looked normal. Weekend routines, familiar faces, everyday life. Inside, every move, every delivery, every dollar followed a system. What this showed investigators was unmistakable. This wasn't loose coordination or opportunistic crime. It was a family-run network, moving hundreds of thousands of lethal doses and millions of dollars, hidden behind the appearance of normal life. Before dawn, executing the raid. Once the full structure was clear, agents prepared to move. At 4:56 a.m., South Minneapolis slept under heavy winter darkness. 12 unmarked federal vehicles rolled into position. 43 agents from the FBI, DEA, and Homeland Security spread out, each assigned a specific role. Every movement had been rehearsed for months. This wasn't a reaction, it was an execution of a plan. Silence held. Then, the operation ignited. Doors were forced open. Commands cut through the stillness. Inside, resistance flared. Outside, the neighborhood watched in disbelief. This wasn't chaos, it was precision. By the time the raid ended, the quiet street had been permanently transformed. Inside the house, evidence that told the story. After the house was secured, agents moved through it methodically. What had appeared ordinary minutes earlier began to collapse under scrutiny. Closets and storage spaces on the main floors revealed 9 black duffel bags, some so heavy they required 2 agents to lift. Nearby, a cash-counting machine sat frozen mid-cycle, its last total locked at $182,400, while loose bills filled drawers and shelves. A 9mm handgun was recovered along with 24 labeled plastic containers, each serving a specific role. Nothing suggested urgency or disorder. This setup was routine. Up to this point, everything suggested scale, but not structure. Then investigators reached the basement. This is where the case fully revealed itself. The basement wasn't storage, it was the center of operations. A 12-foot wooden table dominated the room, its surface worn smooth by constant use. Spread across it were ledgers, handwritten notebooks, wire transfer receipts, and shipment logs documenting 26 months of activity, detailing routes, quantities, payments, and timelines. Along one wall sat 5 sealed black bundles, identical to those seized during the Lake Street traffic stop. That discovery tied everything together. Later analysis would estimate the output connected to this single location at nearly 900,000 lethal doses of fentanyl. At this point, the truth was undeniable. This wasn't a rushed operation or a hidden outpost. It was a system. A carefully built operation, running for years inside a family home that blended seamlessly into the neighborhood. When pressure came, the network vanished. Phones off, accounts erased, routes abandoned. Agents didn't rush blindly. They went into the community, mosques, schools, centers, warning residents, not accusing them. Trust had been misused. Awareness became the defense. Then the scope widened. A warehouse in Ontario, Canada pointed to international supply lines feeding Minneapolis. The numbers shocked investigators. One family moved over $6 million in under 2 years. That's the warning. Crime doesn't always come from the outside. Sometimes it hides behind normal lives. Silence helps it grow. Vigilance stops it.